Protoss. So ZVP, actually, this is great. I love ZVP. We haven't casted one just yet, actually, so this is going to be exciting. So we're going to be doing a ZVP here, Tier 2 match, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about this.
Well, you know, we had a really great Tier 2 series earlier with Doc and his opponent, I'm totally spacing, Can't Shoot, the ZVZ. So I'm excited. Let's jump right in. Let's do another Tier 2 cast. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump right here into the third series of the day. Avanhokie versus Avanhokie. How do we say his name? Avanhokie. Avanhokie. Okay.
Avanhokie?
Yeah, it's H-O-K-I-E.
It depends if the H is silent or not.
Yeah, Avanhokie maybe?
I don't. I'm gonna call him Avon. Maybe she's born with it.
Avon.
No wait, that's something else. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyways,
we got Visceral, bottom right Zerg versus Avon, Protoss, top left. So wait, it's Visceral? I thought it was.
It's no, it's Melon Monkey. It's just another alias, yeah. So Visceral,
gotcha. Okay.
Visceral's gonna be Melon Monkey. We're gonna refer to him as Melon or Melon Monkey for this cast, and we're just gonna call the Zerg Avon because I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry, Avon Hockey. Maybe the H is silent. Maybe it is Avanhokie. That sounds pretty good actually. Avanhokie sounds good, but I don't want to say it in case I don't want to be disrespectful and mispronounce it. We're just gonna call him Avon.
Well, no, but you know the A can also sound like an E in English. Maybe it's Evan.
Avanhokie or Avanhokie? I just feel like the H should be silent. That's my personal opinion.
You gotta change your name. This is unacceptable. I refuse to pass this. We gotta change this. I'm just gonna call him Hokie. I'm gonna completely skip the first 4 letters and just go with the last 5. We got
His
Hokie
name is
in the top left.
All right, I'm trying to call him by the first 4 letters. You're trying to call him by the last 5 letters. What's going on here? Oh man.
And then we got Cereal in the bottom right. I'm gonna.
Jesus.
Standard opening so far from both Overpool from Visceral, and then Hokie doing the standard Forge Expand.
Yeah, I will say though, for those of you Protoss players that are watching the stream right now, this is something that every Protoss can work on, including every Protoss can keep working on this, is wall-ins. This wall-in is going to have a lot of holes in it, because this is not Zergling tight, the pylon forge isn't Zergling tight, and when he puts the gateway below the forge, that's not Zergling tight either. And then the gateway, when it gets put down, is going to have a hole at the bottom. So there's going to be 3 holes in this wall. I'm not even sure if the pylon block... Actually, no, the pylon's a wall-in,
The pylon does not block in that position. The pylon is not tight at the top. So you got a hole above the pylon, hole below the forge, and then the huge gap that's going to take 2 zealots to fill below that gateway when it eventually goes down. You got to be very careful in those situations when you don't have proper SimCity. A Zerg will punish you with a link, possibly a Ling rung by.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got to make sure that you're keeping track of how you're walling off and everything. Looks like the probe is inside the base right now, kind of distracting the Zerglings. This is very good here from Avon, because he essentially... So here's the thing. You can get away with Nexus after Forge against an Overpool if they only build 2 to 4 Zerglings and chase your probe. If they build 6lings, you gotta build cannon right away, because those 6lings are gonna go right after your base, try to punish you for not playing greedy with that Nexus first, and the probe goes down. That's actually super bad right now for Avon. And in fact, we see a lot of Protosses or Zergs kill off that probe and just immediately dive into a 3-hash Hydra, because that they don't have scouting anymore.
Absolutely, and Visceral actually has an opportunity to run by this cannon and get up the ramp if he wanted to. He not be able to do much with the Zergling other than run around, but it's free scouting. He's not going to get an Overlord there forever to know what the Protoss is going to do. He could do something tricky. He doesn't know. Lost that opportunity, though. Zerg, though, playing tricky himself, taking a 3rd base in all the way at the bottom left-hand corner. If he can secure that location without Hokie punishing him for it, he's going to get 4 gas.
Yeah, 4 gas, and not to mention the fact that if Avon tries to walk out onto the map with his army and tries to attack one of the bases, it's very easy for Zerg to flank with the other bases producing Zerglings. And so in the late game, this is really set up for a very good late game style here from Melon Monkey. And the fact of the matter is, again, with this base setup, he takes the whole bottom area with this base layout. It's going to be very easy for him in the late game to defend against them, because he's going to have set up bases here at the left and at the right.
And Avon is he's aware of the holes in his wall. He's trying to plug it up with probes. And that's going to hurt his econ just a little bit. I mean, now that's 2 probes that aren't mining, trying to get his econ going. It's going to be a little bit slower getting that second gas up, which is crucial for getting Corsairs out in a timely manner. Very late, in my opinion, Cybernetics Core, he's not going to be able to find this 3rd expansion until I feel Visceral or Monkey, I guess we could call him, has already fortified it.
Yeah, typically Cybernetics Core should be finished at about 4:15, 4:30 around there. Finished at about 4:45. So this is a little bit late of a Cybernetics Core. It's gonna be also a little bit of a late of a Stargate because he doesn't have that second gas down yet. You should be getting that gas pretty early, right after the Cybernetics Core starts. So it's gonna be a little bit late on the tech here. Stargate now just started, and again, no second gas. This is really gonna hurt his production here and the way that he techs up.
So that probe, before it died in the main base, saw the lair, saw the spire. I hope he doesn't overcommit in thinking that the Zerg is going mutas, because the second gas has not been taken by Zerg. The probability of mutas coming out is low because that second gas is missing. Zerg is focusing on purely droning up at this point. Yes, he's building a few token Zerglings, but that's only to keep Avon in his base and not out scouting the map. Gotta catch that probe. Can't allow him to find that 3rd base, which is what I think he's trying to do. Avon thinks there's something weird going on here. I want to scout the map. Can't let that probe find the bottom left.
Yeah, this probe looks like it's going to go down. These Lings with Link speed are pretty easily capable of catching up the probe and just making sure that it doesn't get enough scouting information. Avanhokie a little bit with the mismicro. Needs to surround that probe and just get damage on it. It's kind of just following the probe. Probably just right-clicked it. And now the probe, there we go. Nice surround. Killing that off. No scouting information here from Avon until he's able to get that first Corsair out. And it looks like he has also started that +1 air weapons as well. So he's going to go for that Bisu style mass Corsair +1 upgrade with the Citadel of Adun. No, Photon Cannon actually being started. Where's the Citadel? Huh. It looks like his tech is just all sorts of delayed right now.
Yeah, it feels like he's just doesn't have his timings down perfectly just yet. I mean, his buildings are all over the place. His wall is kind of funky. He's getting good scouting. He's doing great, with that probe that got all the way across the map that first time. Hasn't been able to follow up since because of the speedlings, but now the Corsair's coming in. Now he's seeing, oh crap, he's not going muta or anything like that at all. He's just playing a really strong econ game. And look at the supply count right now between them. Like, even though the Zerg is behind on Protoss, it's mostly drones, which is exactly what Zerg wants. They want to get that strong econ, and then you're going to see a huge mass of units here within the next couple minutes.
Yeah, I gotta say, Melomonkey's game plan right now of just getting this 4th base, which has now been scouted out by Avon, is just really, really solid. I mean, he's gotten 6 hatchery. That 4th base is gonna come out. He's already got solid defenses at both of his natural expansions, essentially, with 3 sunken colonies going up at each. And in fact, even a spore colony going up at one of them as well, just to defend against those early Corsairs. And he's just really, really in a great position. And as you said before, Avon misreading the Mutalisk, the Muta tech, has got 2 cannons at the natural that he really doesn't need and 1 at the main base that he doesn't really need. And he's just really behind right now, I gotta say, in the fact that he spent 450 minerals on cannons that he just does not need.
And it's delaying his Templar tech too, even though he's getting leg speed. And I mean, he has a cash buildup because he's not macroing. He has a pretty small army. It's a really risky move taking a 3rd at this point without High Templar, because there's going to be Hydralisk soon, and without High Templar and Storm and energy being saved up, it's going to be hard to hold either his natural or that 3rd.
I'm a little bit curious of that. I think that Nexus might be 1 pixel to the right. Looks a little far.
Protosses never make mistakes. Maybe they're walls, but never their Nexus.
Yeah, I think that's 1 pixel to the right.
Pixel.
I'm sorry. Oh my god, I get so triggered every time someone misplaces like a hatchery or a Nexus by like 1 pixel. It's just like, you really could have just taken an extra second to check if it was the closest possible position. But anyways, I do think that taking this 3rd base is a little risky if the Protoss or if the Zerg was just going for a macro style an aggressive Hydra build. But because he realizes that he's got this 4th base coming up so early, that generally Zerg, when they go for this 6 hatch macro style, isn't going to be getting Hydras out too early. So getting this expansion without Storm is okay. Obviously, you'd rather have Storm just to be safe in case like mass Lings just suddenly show up and surround your Zealots, but it's not the worst. So luckily for him, nothing aggressive coming out from Melomonkey, and Melon is just droning up. I mean, he's got so many drones at all of these bases. 6 drones already at that 4th base, and even transferring from the 3rd now to the main. So he's just saturated all 4 of his bases.
Absolutely, because he's been left alone, no harass from the Protoss. He's been able to just drone hard. Look at the gas buildup that Monkey has. I mean, that's going to come out to a lot of Hydralisks, a lot of upgrades, a lot of lurkers, and now that he's got the 4th base coming online, he's transitioning into Hive Tech already in preparation for this, to utilize that gas to his benefit.
Interesting to note here, Aven's gotten for that 2nd Stargate in his main base. A little bit, I don't know, a little bit weird that he's gone for this so late. I'm not sure if he thinks that it's just going to be a lot of mutas coming out, wants to have that extra Corsair production, but I really feel like off 1 Stargate, you should be able to contain a muta switch anyway. So a little bit weird here that he's decided to opt for the double Stargate. We'll see what it turns out into. Maybe he just even goes for a really fast disruption web is possible, but that's generally not well thought out, I would say, by Protoss player. So interesting. We'll have to see how it goes.
Well, 2 more macro hatches being thrown down in the bottom left. This is going to bring the total count of hatcheries up to 4, 5, 6, 7 hatcheries. So Monkey is he's setting himself up for the long game. 8 hatcheries. I apologize. There's I miscounted one. There is one right there as well. So he's going to be he just set himself up for the late game. He's like, you know what? I'm going to leave Protoss alone too, do his own thing. But he's just going to have this massive army coming out soon, and the Protoss player still, I feel, isn't prepared for it. He's got all these Corsairs and Zealots, but without High Templar backing them up, I don't know. I'm a little...
Yeah, he just started Storm. It's only 1/4 of the way done. So this is a very late Storm. The fact that Melon Monkey isn't taking advantage of it, really just wants to build up that economy, is actually playing in the favor of Aven, who's actually gone for a very greedy 4th base even. So if Melon Monkey went for any kind of Hydra play, this game would have been over basically, because he would just walk in, kill off the 4th base, and then walk over to the 3rd base, micro away the Zealots with the Hydras, and just kill the cannons and push to victory right there. So, Avanhokie, based upon the way that this game has been playing, has played correctly, but the timing of some of his, tech and his structures has been a little bit weird. Yeah, going for that fleet peeking, maybe he just goes for carriers. Yeah,
there are situations where carriers can be useful and surprise the Zerg, and Zergling Incursion up here at the 12 o'clock, but these Zealots and Cannon are going to build them off that up. But going back to my point, there are times where carriers are good against Zerg as like a surprise maneuver, but you almost always just want to stick to Corsairs, like Corsair DT. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit weirded out by this carrier play, or I'm not, again, it might be just disruption web, but I'm almost certain this is just going for carriers, because I just really don't see a way that disruption web works here. Actually, you know what, maybe, because of the way that this Zerg is playing, actually very static defensy at his bases to just get up a big macro advantage, it's possible that D-Web just completely goes through a Protoss by D-webbing the lurkers and D-webbing like the Sunkens and Spore colonies. So actually, you know what, maybe...
But he needs Dragoons to follow up with that. The better answer to a static D like that is Reavers. You get Observer with the sight range, you get Reavers, and you can bust that much more efficiently than using D-Web and Dragoons. And there's not even any Dragoons, and there's still no D-Web. I don't understand the build. I don't want to be mean, and I'm not trying to sound mean, but this is definitely a deviation from standard PvZ play. Oh no, Zergling's streaming into the natural. No defense there.
No defense there. The cannons might actually just end up going down, and now the High Templar are actually being targeted by these Zerglings. Actually should have finished the cannon. Now the Zerglings are actually just going to die to the cannon. Managed to pick up one of the High Templar, force an Archon build on one of them as well. But yeah, pretty solid play there by Melon Monkey, managing to get in a couple bits of damage. He's just sending Zerglings across the map. Most of this is just like scouting information, honestly. I don't really feel like he's trying to get too much damage done with these. It's mainly just kind of just like feel out the Protoss defenses, see where's weak, and so that when he really starts macroing up a lot of these Hydras, a lot of these Lurkers, he's just going to be able to walk right through.
Well, now we see the Cybernetics core spinning, so we're seeing a +2 weapon upgrade on the Corsair. So this could be possibly a late game strategy. Get the core. I mean, there is a switch that Protoss can do at a certain point in PvZ. You get upgraded Corsairs, you get like 12 of them, and then you build a whole bunch of Dark Templar, and you bring that with your main army, and you keep that together, and Zerg can't do anything about it. And you play the long game. You just keep killing Zerg's army over and over until they have to tap out.
Yeah, you know what this style reminds me of? This is Mass Ling now with 1-2 upgrade. Sorry, this Carapace upgrade just finished. Is Larva did this against the Protoss player on ladder where he only made Zerglings. And he basically just did this where he just macroed up behind a ton of Sunken Spore and just made only Zergling. And this is kind of what it reminds me of right now, even though there's like a lot more gas being mined for Lurkers. That's where mainly the gas has been going towards. But like I said, it's kind of interesting to see that kind of style. Again, Mass Ling with Crack upgrade, very powerful for a Zerg unit. I mean, Zerglings are by far, pound for pound, the best late game unit. I think it's all of StarCraft.
Absolutely agree with you. Other than the Zergling, once it gets all those upgrades, they are just absolute monsters. They will start tearing through zealots like crazy unless they have Archon backup. And here's this huge line of Zerglings engaging those zealots. Archon coming in might not be enough though. That's a lot of Zerglings. No storms coming out from that High Templar.
Yeah, just not enough Zealots and High Templar now. This army looks just paltry, and the fact of the matter, look, more Zerglings just streaming across the map. It looks like he's trying to grab a 5th base right now, but honestly, it's expanding a little too close to that bottom left-hand base, which has actually got, again, the 5 hatcheries that we were saying before, the 2 in the macro of the main, as well as another hatchery over there at the middle only. So he's got just a ton of links streaming across. He's even trying to go after this top right base, seeing if there's a base up there as well. Actually, a probe even moving over to potentially go for that as well. Once again, no D-Web, no carriers coming out right now, just more Corsairs. So again, I'm not sure what the tech is. I don't think Disruption Web's coming out.
Well, at this point, there's not a lot of defense protecting those Overlords. Sure, there's a couple Scourge here and there floating around. There's a Spore Colony here and there. There's a handful of Hydras. But really, these 12 plus Corsairs sitting around, if Avon can get an army macroed up, he can kill Zerg supply and possibly start picking off expansions. But I don't know, there's a lot of defense and there's a lot of Zerg units floating around now.
Yeah, when Zerg gets up to like this 150 supply mark is when they can really just start slamming units across the map. And this is where Protoss really needs to be able to make sure that they can withstand the waves, get enough defenses up at home to be able to prevent the Zerg from continuously doing this, and then just go for a big bust and try to end the Zerg, kill off all of their economy. And that's the way that Protoss wins this game. But I really feel like Zerg might have gone too far too fast, and maybe he's getting to a point where he's just too big to fail.
Yeah, I feel like when you let a Zerg get their way, which is the huge econ built up, there's just so many Zerg units just streaming across the map now at certain, everywhere. They're at the top, they're at the left, they're engaging the army in the middle. And another thing you got to watch out for is the doom drop. You wait for that Protoss army to move out, you doom drop them, kill all the gateways, and the army either has to try to run back to save them or continue on. If you can hold the army, nothing can replace it, and you can win that way as well.
Yeah, you know what the problem is right now is, I guess he just got Fleet Being just for the +2 upgrade, which
I'm guessing.
I don't know, and he's still making Corsairs. So like, I mean, let's just look at how many Corsairs he's got. He's got 11 right there. He's got another 8 right there. So he's got almost 20 Corsairs. That's 40 supply worth of Corsairs, which means that when you look at the supply, yeah, okay, sure, the supply right now is dead even. But with 40 Corsairs, he's actually down 40 supply worth of ground units, which there's no metas. The Corsairs are practically useless right now. They're not going after Overlords.
And since he doesn't have that ground army, there's now a Hydra mix coming in with those Zerglings, and they're busting across the bridges, getting into the natural. No defense there. There are some DTs, but Overlord's coming up. Going to be able to spot those DTs. He needs to commit those Corsairs now, but those Hydras are also going to pick up a huge number of them.
Oh man, these Corsairs just absolutely melting to these Hydras, and that's what you never want to do, is running Corsairs over a group of Hydras, because you just end up losing like 3 or 4 of them immediately because of how much DPS these Hydras have, especially with the 2-3 upgrades on them right now, working on that +3 attack and melee upgrade at the same time. But I mean, this is just way too, this is why I see in like Zerg, when you let a Zerg get up to like 150 supply or greater, it just feels like it's just a never-ending supply of Zerg units that are just streaming towards your base. So look at the minimap, more reinforcing Hydras coming out, and it just feels like there's just nothing that Protoss can do here to defend.
Yeah, just more and more red streaming across the map. The Hydras don't even care that there's a DT there killing them. They're just like, meh, whatever, I almost said for the Horde, but, for the Swarm.
Yeah,
they're just going to keep pushing up into the Protoss base.
Every Hydra that goes down, like 5 more show up because of the same macro. Just look at this. Look at the macro on the minimap right now. Over at that 9 o'clock position, there's streams and streams of red. And now the Overlord shows up, so the DTs can't even do anything. And I gotta say also, the Protoss gateway placement this game was a little inconvenient for him, to say the least, as well.
It is definitely difficult to macro that way, but Avon having to GG and tap out as the Zerg units just keep pouring into his base.
Yeah, that's going to be the GG. Monkey doing a very good job, very clear game plan and mindset coming into this game to really figure out how to beat Protoss here, and he managed to take game 1 very comfortably off of that very good 6-hatch macro style.
You know, definitely strong mechanics coming from Avon. Just he had a build order, he knew what he wanted to do, he executed it. I think he probably got a little bit, I feel like he got a little bit lost in the middle potentially, because like, Protoss isn't doing anything to stop me, so I guess I'll keep making drones. And so he waited till he had a huge, I mean, he just kept snowballing that advantage before he finally went to take advantage of it. And that's not a bad thing. If the Protoss is going to leave you alone, that's the right answer.
I mean, he was at like 80 supply at one point, the Zerg, and like if you looked at what his unit composition was, maybe like 20 of that was in Lurker Ling, and then the rest of the 60 was just in drones. So
drones,
I mean, you know, when you get to 60 drones as a Zerg player, it's like I guess I win, because I guess I just throw unit wave after wave at you and just continue to build more macro hatches. And I mean, again, that's something that Larva did and showed that good macro will beat most players, just straight up. So it was just incredible to see the macro, the play style, the game plan that he has. But we will say on this map, Autobahn, it's a 2-player map. Where are you going to put those macro hatches? How are you supposed to get a 4th base for free? That's a different style that he's going to have to do, and I think maybe that's a reason why Avon might have picked this map.
Well, I don't know. Autobahn is very interesting PvZ. I feel it's really hard for a Protoss player. Usually when you go and take a 3rd as a Protoss player, it's either really close to your natural and easily defendable because it has a smaller choke, or there's little pocket expansions like Roadkill has the corner expansions, or Aztec has those little high ground expansions that you can just cannon up. Autobahn doesn't have that for Protoss. I mean, the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, huge ramps to get up there. You have or you go to the big middle at the 3 and 9 o'clock, huge ramps there. It's in my opinion, if Protoss can't secure an early lead against Zerg doing econ damage or what have you, it's hard to secure a 3rd gas on this map against them.
Yeah, absolutely. This map is going to be very interesting in how it plays out. Let's jump right into it. Game number 2 coming up here again on Autobahn. A map that we haven't really seen yet from these players, at least from all the series that we've casted, not seen yet, and only played a couple times at the pro level at ASL 6. So this is very interesting. I'm really curious to see how Protoss does again on this map and how Zerg does, especially again with the change-up of strategy that Monkey is going to eventually have to do. He can't go for 4 bases off 6 hatcheries unless he wants to really sneak a base somewhere, but that's a little risky on this map.
And you know, I'm going to go piggyback off what you said before about we haven't seen this much. Even though this map is in ASL, a lot of the players aren't choosing to play on this map. We've seen a couple games, but a lot of them seem to be avoiding this map. We haven't seen that much of it, and I don't know if it's because they just don't like it, or maybe the rule system in place is too freeform and the players just aren't comfortable expanding out onto this map and trying to figure out a new style. We've seen more of this map actually in the foreign scene, in foreign tournaments, than we have in the Korean side.
Once again, Avanhokie, will he puts the pylon in the middle. That's definitely not correct, I will say. Wants to put it right above that egg. I think that becomes a wall, a hard wall. Yeah. And then forge gateway on top. So he should have walled it similarly to how he would do on Circuit Breaker. But again, I mean, it might just be double gateway up front. That's a possibility as well.
Well, another way you could do it is forge on the egg, gateway on top of the forge, and then a pylon above the gateway. And that kind of helps narrow that down a little bit. But like you said, the more ideal structure is, I feel, pylon, then gateway, then forge. Or, excuse me, pylon, forge, then gateway. A lot less holes to have to plug up. But that's the thing about this area, is it's so wide. You can't have a very ideal SimCity. And I feel like the one gate aggressive openings on this map are a little bit better. You buy yourself breathing room using the gateway to get the zealot out and harass the Zerg, have the Zerglings chase the zealot around while you get your expansion up, and then you fortify with forged cannons. But you also have to be careful for Protoss in this example, just below the natural, there is that mineable mineral patch area, and if Zerg wants to be sneaky, Protoss can't see that coming if they mine that out.
Yeah, really nicely done there by Avon, managing to delay that hatchery for Monkey, but it ends up just popping down that hatchery anyways, and looks like Zerglings are on the way out. A pair of Zerglings, and this wall just feels wrong.
I mean, there's a probe there. He's like, I'm gonna plug this gap, but there's like
a massive gap.
There's like a huge hole above you, little probe.
And not even that, the pylon forest not linked tight, the pylon gateway not linked tight. So there's a lot of holes in this wall.
Yeah, again, we're not trying to nitpick. I'm not trying to make fun of you, man. But we're just trying to be educational, letting you know that one thing you gotta do, PvZ, and it's one thing I struggled with personally for a long time. You need to learn, if you're gonna go the Forge expand builds, it is essential to learn the proper SimCity on every map that you're gonna play a Zerg on. And he picked this map, so there's no excuse. You need to know your SimCity, because if you don't know a SimCity well enough, Zerg will exploit that and punish you. In more ways than just like an all-in. And for example, he's taking lots of expansions because he knows the Protoss is probably going to play more passively because of the holes.
Yeah, look at this. Even more probes getting pulled off the line right now. And in fact, Avanhokie has gone for this really fast tech. No Nexus. Now putting it down. This is very late. I mean, the core is going to finish like a little bit earlier, in fact. It usually finishes at 4:15. But now it's finished before 4 minutes. But he doesn't have any gas. Like, his gas timing here was so delayed, I guess. So now, even though his core's finished, what's he going to build? Right? He builds a Zealot, but his Nexus is delayed. His tech is delayed because even though he's got this core done earlier, he doesn't have gas. So now he's end up going to make a Stargate at probably about 4:25, in fact, which is, again, about the time he'd build it. But instead, he's delayed his Nexus by so long. The Overlord finds it. So now, I mean, if you're Melomunk in this position, you're really comfortable. You know that his tech is going to be delayed. You know that his Nexus is far delayed. So your economy is just going to be booming. And you don't have to worry about anything right now. His layer's coming up. Spire's going to finish right, or start right when his layer finishes at 4:40. Everything's on time right now for Monkey.
He's got very solid coaches. If you're looking for a tier 2 Zerg, keep your eye on this guy. I mean, he's got some very solid mechanics for a tier 2 player. He knows exactly what he's going, what builds he has in mind when he gets into these games. He knows exactly what he's doing. He has the proper responses. He saw a Zealot get made, so he's making a few more Zerglings just to make sure Protoss doesn't try to do any, efficient harassing. And he's just doing a repeat of game 1. He's gonna hatchery up and he's gonna drone up. He's like, okay, if you're gonna leave me alone, I'm gonna leave you alone, man. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Just saying, hey, buddy, let's macro. And the Spire was a little bit delayed here. He went for a 4th hatchery earlier than the Spire, but maybe it's Mutalisks, and he wanted the hatch just so he has extra larva immediately before the Spire finishes and might start his second gas.
No second guys are taken, though. I think he's just pure droning again.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, he's got a ton of drones at the National. He's got 11 drones already, 12 that's kind of idle, sitting out in front of the hatchery. And back at the main as well, he's got 10 drones already, and the third base has got 3. So he's just macroing, powering out. The gas now started at the natural base, finishing up for Avon. So that second gas is good. It's a much better timing than the last game. And the first Corsair is about to finish. And he's going to be able to get an Overlord kill here with this I wouldn't say early, I would say. Probably just a normal timing Corsair. A little bit of delayed Spire. So I will say that Monkey, if we can nitpick him a little bit, he does have a slight layer Spire. Should have started it right when the layer finished. Instead, he opted for a couple hatches first beforehand.
Yeah, luckily, though, Avon has got a weird scouting pattern for this Corsair. Maybe he's trying to see how far the Zerg could have potentially expanded, and he is going to see the third having been taken. He still has a window to kill a couple Overlords here, because that Spire is not done, and the Hydralisk den just finished, and no Hydra's being built. But he's scouting dutifully first to see what's going on. He might go for an Overlord, but he's got to realize that the Zerg is powered hard. He should be drone counting and seeing, like, wow, there's a lot of drones here. That means there's no army. I got to get ready for a huge late game battle.
Yeah, either that or you just gotta plop down like 3 to 4 gateways, just go mass zealot with speed, with leg upgrades, and just try to bust through. Because right now there's no sunken colonies out, there's no hydras out. This core is actually doing a pretty good job of getting a lot of these overloads. But the first pair of scourge now out, probably gonna be able to chase away this corsair. And in fact, it's just gonna go right after the scourge. And that corsair, unfortunately, was not long for this world. Ended up going down. But a couple of zealots out here actually managing to get through. It looks like he managed to kill off all the zerglings that are out front. And there's no sunkens, no zerglings here to defend.
Yeah, there are Hydralisks now starting to be built, but because a couple Overlords were killed, it's supply capped Visceral, and this is actually going to be poor for him. Drones aren't very good at fighting Zealots. You got to get those drones out of there. You can't lose that investment. Got to wait for those reinforcements to come.
A lot of drones going down. Ton of drones. I think 7 or 8 drones went down there. So that's a huge amount of damage done by these Zealots. And if anything, he just rock home with these Zealots. I don't think Hydras have leg upgrades, so they wouldn't be able to chase them. But no, he's just going to let them A-move and try to distract the Zerg for as long as possible, while Zerg is trying to desperately make more Hydralisks. But he's got to watch out, though. Because when he's making these Hydras, now he's got to watch out for a Hydralisk counterattack. He can't just continue to just say, oh, I guess I don't have to do anything now, I can play passively. Because these Hydras, now that he's made them, could be used for other things rather than just defending.
Well, no Templar archives down. That means no High Templar, and that's... I mean, I know a lot of Zergs eventually learn how to do storm dodging, but there's no excuse for not having Storm out at this point and ready to go and energy saving up on High Templar. It is the staple for PvZ. It is so efficient at killing units, and there's no excuse to not have High Templars at this point. It looks like he is going what you said, maybe for a Zealot timing attack. He's got the leg speed research, and he's already got the +1. He might be able to just A-move down since there's hardly any defenses and do more damage, but I don't know, more Hydralisks streaming out like you said before.
Yeah, these Hydras have that speed upgrade and just now about to finish from the Hydra Den, and I think he's got attack upgrade. But these speed lots with the +1 upgrade actually going to be able to make min speed. A really good surround here by Avanhokie. Great micro here from our Protoss player.
Wow, yeah, he's totally cutting off those Hydras from retreating and completely massacre that entire Hydralisk army. This is actually going to open up a lot more gameplay for him and allow him to do a counter, looks like, towards the third. Still no defenses in place. Only a couple Hydralisks, no Sunkens.
Yeah, in fact, he can even rush in the Corsairs as well to be able to start doing a lot of damage here. The Sunken's not even starting yet. The Creep Colonies just finished. The Zealot's just going to be able to get in here and start doing a ton of damage with that +1, tearing up the Hydras, tearing up drones. No Zerglings out yet. This one Sunken up here is going to get immediately taken out, and he's just going to run in here, kill off so many Hydra right now. Another Zealot stream of 5 Zealots running in here. The Sunken's back here being well defended by Hydras, but now the Zealot's getting top of the Hydras. The Hydras are surrounded.
Those Sunkens are doing tons of damage behind those Hydralisks. Unfortunately for Visceral, there's just too many Zealots pushing through here, but you know what? More units are being created, more are rushing up to try to defend. Unfortunately for Visceral, these Corsairs are also picking off the Overlords. He's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. He can't focus the Corsairs because the Zealots are killing his base. He can't kill the Zealots because the Corsairs are killing his Overlords. He's kind of struggling with the multitasking right now.
Yeah, absolutely he is. And right now, his units are just everywhere, finally managing to stabilize at the third base. So now that Avanhokie is going to have to pull back a little bit. And these Corsairs, a little bit unfortunate here for Avanhokie. Not paying attention to these Corsairs. They've managed to get quite a few Overlord kills. 4 kills on one of these Corsairs, 1 kill on the other. And probably gotten a lot more off these Scourge and these other Overlords. So now, yeah, he's going to have to run back with these Corsairs. Doesn't want to lose the last one. That one's going to be really important for scouting. And, he might lose it. No, it's just...
Gonna get clean away.
Yeah.
So now Avon is rebuilding up his Zealot 4. He's just going pure Zealot. I don't see him building. There's a Reaver kind of chillaxing, but he's just going for pure Zealot build, which kind of reminds me of like 2003, PvZ.
I mean, you gotta say, look at this third base. Where is the Hydra's gonna micro to? I mean, Storms are really good when the Hydras can micro away in an open ground fight. But in a close ground fight, Zealots do very good at just being able to go head to head against Hydras. We've seen already multiple times that Avanhokie has great Zealot control, really good at surrounding these Hydralisks. I mean, he doesn't really need Storm. Obviously, like when he corners the Hydras, a Storm over the Hydras would just mean game over essentially at that point. But the way that this map has kind of laid out, and the way that Melon Monkey has kind of positioned his army, it is in a way that really, even though Storm should be played, it's not the end of the world right now for Avanhokie. He's got so many Zealots out.
Yeah, definitely the strong point for Avon right now is that he has been controlling his Zealots and getting those surrounds and cutting off the Hydralisks, which is essential for Hydra play. You can't go toe-to-toe with Zealots, with Hydras, unless you have an overwhelming number of them. If you're equal number, you gotta dance, you gotta micro away. And Visceral, he has great macro and build timing, but it seems like his micro is really suffering.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I mean, in the game 1, he really didn't micro too much. He just kind of moved all of his units over at the base, and yeah, obviously he had a great macro lead, so he didn't need a micro at all. But I think it's coming to bite him a little bit here, where his micro isn't the greatest. He's also gone for prioritizing carapace upgrade over attack upgrade. Now with Hydralisk, I will say this for those Zerg players out there: you want to prioritize your attack upgrade for Hydras in a ZVP, because you're gonna have so many Hydras, and the point is you're supposed to micro well to the point where you shouldn't need to get the +1 carapace upgrade. But with the style that Melomonkey seems to have, where he kind of gets macros a lot and doesn't really micro, I'm kind of okay with this carapace upgrade going first instead of going for the +1 attack upgrade.
Well, the easy solution is to just build your 75 mineral evolution chamber and just do both upgrades at once. Why not?
Also, I think this
huge attack coming up, huge ramp. See, this is the problem taking the third base for Protoss. It's hard to hold that when there's such a huge ramp.
But will it be Storm? Will it be Storm?
I don't think it has it. I don't think he has Storm. I don't think it's research.
No, it's only halfway done right now. Oh my goodness. He needs to use these Zealots and try to micro with this Reaver right now in the shuttle. The Reaver is out right now. Can it defend? A good scam shot there. And now the Hydra's going to turn his attention to this Reaver. He needs the micro Reaver. The Reaver's going down. The Reaver goes down. Oh no. And now these Hydras.
Without Storm and not microing that Reaver, those Hydras are now just stomping all over those poor Zealots. They're fighting for ire. They're trying their best. More Zealots and High Templar come in. They don't have Storm. They should have been morphed into Archons at least. But he might be able to just push this off just barely.
Yeah, I mean, again, these Zealots just managing to make mincemeat of these Hydras. The no micro here from Melomonkey is really coming in here to bite him. But luckily for him, yeah, he managed to do quite a bit of damage, kill off that first Reaver, which would have been so bad for him if he were to drop in the main, for example, where there's absolutely no defense, or even at the back of the natural. But at the same time, Melomonkey's gotten his 4th base, gotten an extra hatchery up there, so now he's going to go up to 7 hatcheries, might even want to start making a couple more at his main base, some macro hatcheries, and now he's gotten the Lurker tech. So everything from Melomonkey, even though the game hasn't gone as smoothly as game 1, is still going his favor. He's got the Hive tech that's about to finish, I want to say, yeah, 3/4 of the way done, and the 4th base is starting to get settled up. He's in a comfortable position.
Well, it's moving more and more into his favor like it did game 1. Like, if you have so many units that you don't need the micro because you just have so many hatcheries reproducing those units back home, that's one thing. But in these early engagements, when you're trying to slow down Protoss's expansion efforts, you gotta control those units. He did great moving up and sniping that Reaver, but the follow-up, he needs to dance. He's got to learn the Hydra dance and utilize their effectiveness, or maximize their effectiveness against Zealots, I should say. You can't just let them sit there and get surrounded.
Yeah, and I think honestly this game might have been over if he knew how to Hydra micro, because essentially it all started when he didn't micro his Hydras early on in the game, right? And that kind of snowballed. The first attack didn't micro his Hydras. The second attack cornered himself in and didn't micro his Hydras. This third attack didn't micro the Hydras. Imagine if he microed in every one of those fights, how many extra Hydras he would have been able to save in every one of those attacks. Think about how many Hydras he would have had in that last attack. He might have had even double the amount of Hydras he would have had. So it's really crucial to not only practice your macro, which we've got to say, great game plan here from Melomonkey, but he's got to improve on that micro capability, because then he's just going to be able to take games against Protoss very easily.
Yeah, Visceral's macro is definitely a strong point, and his build timings and his placements are great. If he can learn to do the micro side of Zerg, I think I would be scared of him. I think I would have a hard time. Shuttle dropping off units to protect this probe. Unfortunately, those Zerglings are going to be able to kill the High Templar.
Nice pickup there by that shuttle. Good micro there from Avanhokie. And I will say, even though Avanhokie's build order planning isn't the greatest here, obviously you saw in the early game the delayed Nexus, the no gas with Cybercore, his micro's been pretty good. That Zealot micro attack at the front at the very first engagement was phenomenal. I can't even micro that well because of the spacing that his Zealots had to manage to surround. It was very phenomenal. So I think, honestly, it's kind of funny. If you were to combine both these players, this player, if you combine the micro, or the micro of Avanhokie and the game plan macro of Melomonkey, this would be one solid player.
Yeah, if we could just morph them like an Archon.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe put them together in a team melee mode. Then they, just have one do the micro, one do the macro. Yeah, that would be pretty scary. Looks like Visceral is content to just kind of sit back. He looks like he's going to take another base at the 6 o'clock, continue to build his econ lead, because that's definitely the one thing that Visceral has going for him, is he still has a super strong econ. One Zealot all the way up to 3 o'clock, attacking the power generator. How did he get there?
Oh, Storm at this very big base here. Where will the storms be? Storm move!
So many drone kills.
12 kill Temp, 13 kill Templar, and now guess what? He's got another Templar inside of there. He can just go right over to this other base and maybe get Storm from the low ground even, but no, I think he's just gonna get Storm from right behind the middle line. He's gonna stack a Templar here. Storm move!
Another Storm going up. Press F to pay respects. Oh, geez, so many drones killed. That is gonna slow down Visceral's econ. Only a little bit, but there's just so many hatcheries left.
Yeah, but you gotta, I mean, think about it this way. Now he's only got 3 drones here. Oh, I mean, he's power drones, so it's kind of okay for him. But that means he's not using Larva to build up an army, instead remacroing up this drone count of his. So he kind of stalled out the macro of Melomonkey for a little bit, but here comes Melomonkey. We're starting to see that big Zergling attack once again coming in. A lot of Templars here. These Zealots, if they need to be able to defend these Templars from the Zerglings.
Yeah, but those Zerglings have the attack speed upgrade, so they were able to actually wipe out a large number of Zealots there. It would have been, I think, more devastating to focus those high Templar, but huge engagement in the middle, more Zerglings. Here's some storms coming out now.
Yeah, excellent storm here, and now the Zealots trying to get a better concave than these Zerglings. The Zerglings initially had a great concave, now it's starting to even out a little bit, but more Zerglings just streaming across the map. He's got one more storm left, another great storm, but unfortunately the Zerglings managing to clean up that army in the center there, and we're going to see the map starting to get split more and more, with Melomonkey taking that 6 o'clock expansion. We're going to have to see where Avanhokie is going to decide to expand to. Does he decide to maybe try to take the middle and just kind of control the map through the bottom side of the map, or is he going to go for that top 12 o'clock expansion, just split the map entirely in half?
Well, down at the 6 o'clock, shuttle loaded up with 1 high Templar, 3 Zealots. Looks like he's going to try to scout around and see if there's any other drones he can pick off. None there, but still going to commit to the attack, looks like.
Yeah, Scourge even ready already inside the main base, so he's going to be ready for that. Not a great storm there. He's going to have to storm. Yeah, okay storms. But this drop generally didn't do much. That one Zealot's still over there at the back of that base, by the way. Not attacking the generators anymore. I guess he just needed to kill one to get his frustration out. I guess maybe he wasn't chosen to be a Dragoon or something like that. But that's one thing also that I actually wanted to point out, is that Avanhokie has not gone for any Dragoons. And I think that, Zealots and Templar are just great in general. But you need to have that range support from the Dragoons, especially against Lurkers and Hydras. When the Zealots have to run up, they're taking like a volley or two first. So Dragoons are great to kind of neutralize that first volley from the Hydras and able to kind of respond with a volley of their own.
I absolutely agree. In PvZ, it's okay to lead the initial engagement with Dragoons, let them take a couple hits on the Hydras, and then have your Zealots either flank or stream through between the Dragoons and start engaging, and that helps split that DPS. Engagement at the 12 o'clock, Protoss versus Zerglings, as the Visceral is trying to, I think he thought there was an expansion up there, but now he knows it's just a humongous Protoss.
Oh, but look at the bottom. Look at the bottom. The counterattack dragged the entire army of Avanhokie down over there to the 12 o'clock expansion. Now just using these cracklings and these Hydras to just attack this bottom location. And this 4th base is all but destroyed. There's only one photon cannon here to defend. They're basically just going for a base trade right here, but there's no observer over here at this base. So these Zealots are just going to be mincemeat to this Lurker defense here. And this 4th base is going to go down. There's not a whole lot of defense either at the 3rd base. Only 2 Templar, 1 Reaver. And if that Reaver goes down or the Templars don't get good enough storms, that base is going to be forfeit as well.
Yeah, Zealot's trying to stream down to reinforce, but there was a Zergling rear guard there that actually cleaned up quite a lot of that reinforcing.
Oh, great storm
coming off on a huge amount of that army.
My god.
Cleaning that up nicely. Wow.
2 storms managing to kill off the entire army there from the Zerg player. And that's what I'm saying again. If Melomonkey was able to kind of micro that attack a little bit better, he might have been able to save a lot of those units. And now going for another small counterattack here at the natural base. But again, Avanhokie now down to only basically 2 base mining. The natural is almost mined out. The 3rd base will be his only last mining base, and he doesn't even have that many probes mining at the same time.
Huge amount of blue streaming right through the middle, engaging the Protoss at the natural. An army coming in from behind, going to pincer those Hydras. to keep them from pushing any further into the Protoss base. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. Zerglings and Hydras focusing firing on the Archon, taking down the rest of the Zealots. Some reinforcements coming in. It's not going to be enough, though, as more Zerglings stream across the map.
Yeah, and this is, again, when Melomonkey is able to kind of hit that massive macro style with all those hatches. He's got like 10 hatches, I think, 2 at every one of his bases, essentially. And he's just running through the Protoss player. That supply lead, you can see, again, Zerg hit that 150 supply mark, and there's going to be the GG from Avanhokie.
Great macro play from the Zerg player, securing a 2-0 win over Avanhokie. Just, again, I think yes, he secured the win in the long run, but imagine he could have saved himself 10 minutes of pain, I think, if he could just get that Hydra dancing down.
Yeah, Hydra dancing down, especially needing to make sure that he's getting that +1 attack upgrade first with the carapace. Again, you know, it's okay that he got carapace, but remember that Zealots actually do double damage, or actually no, because they do the side blaze in two swipes. +1 carapace neutralizes a +1 attack. But the point of the matter, the point that we're trying to make is the Hydra dance, when you have Hydra speed, is so much more effective than just running your Hydras into Zealots and just saying, I've got +1 carapace, hopefully that's enough to deal with it. Because generally it's not. If the Protoss is better micro than you and you don't have good micro, +1 carapace still is going to save your Hydras. So learn the dance, go +1 attack upgrade first on those Hydras, and you're going to really experience a much smoother game in PvZ.
Absolutely. Well, great series overall from all 3 that we were able to cast tonight. Huge shout out once again to Pysan and Laser Snipe for putting this all together, for getting casters organized, for getting players together, for keeping people on track. Huge props to them for motivating the foreign scene. I should say the newer players of the foreign scene, and getting them involved in this great game that is StarCraft. It's been around for 20 years. It has a rich history, and I'm excited that I'm a part of it. I'm excited that everyone that's coming in is a part of it, and I'm looking forward to better and more games in the future.